The media doesn't give you this part of their show. They just give you the other part of it. They give you the second part, which we give you too. We do the media, but like then also give the whole thought process behind it, so you can see like where the thoughts are coming from. And I'm not getting paid for this. Yet. So they didn't. So they ended up canning Spike Lee's documentary about Colin Kaepernick. They said, and Spike Lee was asked for comment. He said he couldn't comment on it. He had signed an NDA. In my opinion, they probably just killed it. They probably thought it was bad business. They didn't want to look, like they were pushing wokeism when it's unpopular in 2025. It's just like another shot at Disney. Like they don't stand for anything. They don't stand for anything. ESPN is trash. It's dying. It's been dying for 20 years now, probably. But they're still holding on. Disney's still holding on for dear life, trying to control the media like they've done for, they've been one of the major media companies for the last 60 years, especially under Bob Iger's control with ABC, ESPN. Now they're more than just their library, they're a media empire, and they stand for nothing. That's why they're dying. So that's like, I mean, come on, you paid money to like an Oscar-winning filmmaker to make a film, and then like because the cultural moment shifts against you, you decide to can it. Then why did you pay for it in the first place? Why do you want to make it in the first place? It's just so soft. Like they don't stand for anything. I'm ragging on Disney right now, but it's all of them. No major media company actually stands for anything. It's just propaganda and mind control, and whatever they're pushing at the moment. Now we're doing mind control of our own, but at least you see where I'm coming from. Like our form of mind control is for our benefit. We're trying to elevate the collective consciousness. We're not trying to drag anybody into supporting foreign wars or supporting, harmful practices, which is what the media has pushed in different ways for its entire existence since propaganda came out. That's what the media has been for, But that's why they're dead. We can say they're dying, or we can say they're already dead. I think they're already dead. They just don't know it yet. They still have, billions in market cap, billions in ad dollars, but it's drying up. People are tired of being lied to. That's what the media does. They lie to you. They try to get you to, they push narratives. And every apparatus is pushing the narrative, and they might give you some illusion that there's dissent and objection, but really it's controlled, It's completely controlled. They wouldn't let anybody on there. That's not controlled. And that's why people get blackballed. They don't let certain people talk. So, but times they are changing, So don't trust John Bolton. Don't trust Disney, because Disney will pay. Like these media companies will pay to have films made, and then when they think it will make them more unpopular, they will can them. It's like, why did you make it in the first place? Why did you pay to make it? What were you thinking about? It's like you're afraid. You're scared. You're scared of the public. Who are you accountable to? Like, that's who you're accountable to. So, typical Disney stuff. Scared mouse, acting like a mouse. Okay, I knew what I was thinking of. Part of, like, it's also meta. That's why it's just too many layers. It's like there's this famous quote. It's like our founding quote. It's like good artists copy, great artists steal. And like that quote has gone, ironically, I heard about that quote from Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs liked that quote, because Steve Jobs was accused of stealing content from, like, I forget which company, but like one of the early computer companies. Might even have been Atari. I don't know if it was Atari or what. Like Steve Jobs said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." I heard him say that, or on a video or something, or the quotes. He says that, but when he says that, he's quoting Pablo Picasso. Like Pablo Picasso himself said that, and it's almost like Steve Jobs stole the quote / stole the outlook. Good artists copy, great artists steal. And it's like, I guess, when you copy, the meaning behind that term is like when you copy something, it's clearly not your own. It's like you're copying something. Exactly, Clark's Flower Shop. That's like our founding principle, basically. Good artists copy, great artists steal. So, like, when you steal something, well, and I go back to another one of our founding principles is like, there's nothing new under the sun, which we're not saying that in like a defeatist mindset. It's like, that's part of our, that's why we're covering nostalgia in a way. It's like the stories have been told. You just gotta go. You just gotta look. I mean, they're everywhere. So you gotta steal something and make it work for you. Then make it your own. That's the whole point of. That's what I think they mean by stealing. It's like when you steal something, then it's yours. You're not copying it. So, I forget where I thought of that from. I guess we were talking about layers. So stealing. Like we're I guess, yeah, I guess that's what I was talking, like we're stealing this song, Love Will Tear Us Apart. We're stealing these clips from the NFL, / MLB, NBA. Stealing. Not actually stealing. Not actually stealing. And this is kind of where I see the channel going eventually, guys, is like we'll be making like full-on like news programs, but live, so you can see the, it's like, because that's the problem that's why nobody trusts the media. I don't know if it's why nobody trusts the media, but nobody trusts the media. That's true. Because they're doing what I'm doing, they're clipping, but they leave this part out of the show. They leave the part out where they decide what to show you. We don't leave. We're at the disadvantage of taking what the media gives us. I mean, we don't have White House press passes yet. One day, but the media doesn't give you this part of their show. They just give you the other part of it. They give you the second part, which we give you too. We do the media, but like then also give the whole thought process behind it, so you can see like where the thoughts are coming from. And I'm not getting paid for this. Yet. I might honestly. Hey guys, this is breaking. I don't know. We've been talking about like All right, this is a little interesting, partially an aside. I don't know if you guys heard of like the fourth turning. It's part of generational theory. It's like there are 4 cycles. There are 4 generations. And these cycles repeat each other. I think it was like Neil Howe. It was Howe and Strauss wrote the book. I think they wrote multiple books about generational theory and how there are 4 archetypes of generations, and like basically these repeat over cycles. And every 4 cycles, so there are 4 different archetypes of generations, and basically goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then starts over 1, 2, 3, 4, and they have names for them. It's like I'll look it up. Anyway, why I was thinking of that is, Strauss-Howe generational theory. Why I was thinking of that is like according to their theories of generational theory, we're due for a 4th turning, and I mean I do give them credit. There's some decent stuff in their hypothesis. I haven't read their full books, but basically it's like you look every 80 years and like big events happen every 80 years or so, and they're like going back. They're saying World War II was about 80 years ago. 80 years before that, like 1860, World War II happened in 1940. About 80 years before that, American Civil War. About 80 years before that, American Revolutionary War. So, and, they go, you can go and look into their books and stuff. But basically what they say is every 4... Once the 4 generations are complete, there's what's called a 4th turning, which resets the cycle, basically. Anyway, I thought it was... I just thought of the comparison, like, the 4th turning right now, that is happening right now, because if you believe in Howe-Strauss generational theory, we are either due for a 4th turning or are in a 4th turning now. Some people said it was COVID was our 4th turning. Some people say, hey, it's not even happened yet. Maybe we're in the middle of it, Anyway, I thought it was interesting. It's like the 4th turning, if we're in the 4th turning now, but like what's happening in this 4th turning or this generational change is like the walls are breaking down, particularly the 4th wall. Like they always call, if you look up the 4th wall, Well, first let's, you guys can... Psychohistorical theory, which theorized recurring generational cycle and recurring... I already just told you guys this. 85 years. Anyway, so I thought my comparison was just that this 4th turning is really defined by the breaking down of the 4th wall. The 4th wall is, you can see this, is an invisible imaginary wall that separates the actors from the audience. And this is kind of going a little further into what we were saying yesterday about how like politics in the mass media has gone from like scripted show, to now it's like a reality show. But in my opinion, that 4th wall is still up. The 4th wall that separates the politicians, in this case that I'm referring to the people, the American people, their constituents, it's still up. Even though it's like, because it's like with Trump, like he's the first reality TV president, right? Like he literally had a reality TV show. But the thing is, there's like The Apprentice reality is different from the reality content that's coming out today. Like the content that's coming out today is like some of the most influential people out there are live streamers, So that hasn't happened. It's starting to happen in politics, in my opinion. It's starting. This 4th wall of politics is coming down. That's what we talk. It's like it used to be backroom deals, and now they're on camera. But I think the next part is even beyond that. It's like when you even like, because right now the vibe to me is like it's Apprentice level. It's like an Apprentice level reality show or like a VH1 reality show. It's like it's kind of real, but it's not actually fully real. And people can tell that. I think that's my read of it. But I think in this 4th turning, we might have this the break might one of the characteristics of this fourth turning, if you believe that's what we're in, which I kind of do. I think generational theory makes sense. I think we've talked about time being linear or cyclical. I'm on the cyclical side of things. That's why I lean towards generational theory. Anyway, I think that this fourth turning, this time period that we're in now, is also interestingly defined by the fourth wall being completely destroyed on all levels. It's like, and this is only maybe, this happened once before, you know, it's like, Clark, what is it? He's, all right, okay, let's go. Come on. Good. Okay. It looks like somebody might have fallen asleep watching the. That's my only thing. Otherwise, they watched it like I don't know how many times. But all right, guys, we got 3 wheels to spin. We're gonna come up with the idea live here. What we're gonna make. So, just get started here. We got our first wheel to spin. Just spinning it. Okay, good. This is a good one. This is a really good one for us because it allows a lot of different directions. This is where we need our filter to be energized here because we got a lot of different directions to go with robber barons. We could go more historical. We could go more modern, recent. So we could do a compilation of robber barons. We could tie a theme of robber barons together. Very popular theme, eat the rich today. A lot of class warfare, at least in ideas going on. So robber barons is a good one. I'll put that in the chat. Yes. So first wheel is robber barons. So we've been hoping for robber barons in a way. This won't be our last robber baron short. But you guys can keep your robber barons in mind. So that was the first wheel. And then let's see the second wheel. All right. Comeback. Robber baron comeback. Alright. So, I mean, we could think rags to riches. We could think, rags to riches. We could think somebody who, rags to riches, if there's one of those, like somebody who had something, then lost it, then came back. I'm kind of thinking off the rip, like Steve Jobs. I mean, he's not really a robber baron, but Steve Jobs come back to Apple. That just popped into my head. We could do like a nice little memory type reboot type of Steve Jobs leaving Apple, then coming back to Apple and building it. It's still the company that he built. They haven't come up with a new product. I mean, they have come up with new products, but nothing like when he was around. So that's my first instinct is the Steve Jobs comeback to Apple. If anybody has other, it'd be more positive, Steve Jobs is one of our guys. Apparently it was hard to work for, but he's got a lot of, if you just watch, if you watch his stuff, very smart, brilliant person, very careful with his words. Like, he was one of those people, like, when he was asked a question, he would pause for several seconds when he would as he would think of his answer. So he was just a very thoughtful person. And it was Xerox. I mentioned that on stream a couple days ago. Like, good artist copy, great artist steal. We could maybe incorporate that into our into our short, good artists copy, great artists steal, but it was Xerox that he stole from. Like, Xerox had like the UI interface, or the graphical, it's like the graphical interface like that we see today. It's basically that computers as today. Steve Jobs helped set that up and stole the idea. Alright, second wheel was what? Comeback? Just barely. Almost rescue. First wheel, robber barons. Second wheel, comeback. So that's what I'm leaning towards. I mean, I'm heavily leaning towards that. If anybody has a better idea, it's just... This is when it's hard. It's kind of... As we evolve as creators, I'll be able to think of other ideas at the same time, but it's kind of easy to have your brain just lock in on one idea. So that's my idea. I'll try my best before this we lock in on that to think of other possible comebacks. I mean, there have been other CEOs that have come back to their companies, or I don't want to do a Donald Trump one, because he went broke and then made all his money back. Oversell? Oh, make it cyclical? Oh, I shouldn't have said oversell. I spoke too soon. Make it cyclical. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one.
It comes down to trying to expose yourself to the best things that humans have done, and then try to bring those things in to what you're doing. I mean, Picasso had a saying. He said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." And we have, always been shameless about stealing great ideas. And I think part of what made the Macintosh great was that the people working on it were musicians and poets and artists and zoologists and historians who also happen to be the best computer scientists in the world.
All right, well, at least we found that video. That was easy. I've
brought to you by Rogue.
Sorry. I have at least thought of that quote before. Thought of the relationship between Steve Jobs and Pablo Picasso. So that's definitely a cyclical type idea. And then... Thanks, Clark's Flower Shop. It is very symbolic of what we're doing too, exactly. And who knows, we're constantly evolving, So who knows what's next? But thank you. I see the same connections. Alright, what was I doing? Okay. Alright, oh, no.
It comes down to trying to expose yourself to the best things that humans have done, and then try to...
And now here this YouTube comments. I mean, this could be a whole rabbit. We could do this all day today, guys. The credit should be given to poet T.S. Eliot. Immature poets imitate, mature poets steal. Maybe bad poets deface. But then I go back all the way to, Ecclesiastes? There's nothing new under the sun. That's where it really goes back to. Who knows where it goes before that, but... Alright, we might... Update, we might have to... Remember how I said I took that last quote... Oh, no, you can hear the music? Just trying to not have you hear the music. Whatever. Okay. Cindy is scared of Corky. Does she hear him? He's Oh, Clark. Clark, come on. He's realized his, true purpose is to, come on, be on camera. All right, settle down.